If you could have any superpower in the world, what would you choose? I always giggle a little bit whenever I hear this question come up at a networking event or a dinner party, and somebody says that they would choose time travel, the ability to travel through time. And I always giggle a little bit to myself because I am a time traveler. And it is very possible to time travel, and anybody in the world can time travel if you have past life regression. Welcome back, beautiful souls. Today we are beginning to read from Dolores Cannon's Horns of the Goddess. And this book is about time traveling back to the ancient Druid civilizations and the lost knowledge that they had. I'm very excited to begin reading this book with you all because I have lately gone down a little bit of a rabbit hole myself where I have suddenly been drawn to these ancient Druid Celtic practices, rituals, initiations that they would do in these caves in Scotland. So let's dive into Dolores Cannon's Horns of the Goddess. Introduction: The Time Traveler. Yes, I consider myself a time traveler because I found a very effective way to traverse time through the method of regressive hypnosis. More accurately, I call myself a reporter, a researcher, and an investigator and accumulator of lost knowledge. This has been accomplished through the use of a hypnosis technique which I have perfected over 30 years of working in this fascinating field. My roots in hypnosis go back to the 1960s, when the older, time-consuming methods of induction were used. Hypnosis was used mainly to help people stop habits, like stop overeating, stop smoking, etc. The idea of using it to help people through past life regression therapy was unheard of. Even in the 1970s, it was frowned upon by serious therapists. I've been a participant all during this time and have watched it evolve to where now it's an accepted and valuable form of therapy. Such is the way it is. Methods that were once considered radical are now coming into wide use because their value has been proven. In the 1960s, there were no books to help any therapist understand this phenomenon. The only book at that time was The Search for Bride Murphy, which was the story of one therapist stumbling across the idea of reincarnation. The book created a great deal of controversy at the time of its publication. Such a book would not even see print today because it would be considered too common and too mundane. I, and many other therapists in this field, encounter these simple cases constantly during our work, and the idea of reliving past lives is no longer considered extraordinary. That book was a groundbreaking concept at its time, a book for the appropriate time in our history. I also stumbled across the idea of past lives and reincarnation in 1968 while working with a woman who was trying to lose weight. With the help of her doctor, my husband and I were attempting to help her nervous eating that was causing kidney problems. During the course of treatment, she suddenly slipped into a past life in Chicago in the 1920s flapper era. Since there were no books printed at that time to guide a hypnotist about what to do in such cases, we had to invent our own rules. With nothing to guide us except our curiosity, we took the woman through 5 lives. This story of my beginning was told in my first book, 5 Lives Remembered. That book has never been published because I now consider it to be too mundane. BTW, it has been published now. It is the story of my beginning, but the path has taken me to unimaginable and incredible adventures since then. It may be printed one day because people are always asking at my lectures about how I started, how I began on this fantastic journey. The journey that has taken me through space and time and dimensions and around the world several times since that humble beginning. It's a path that I never would have dreamed of in the 1960s when I was busy being a Navy wife and mother of 4 children. It illustrates that anyone's life path can take a 180-degree turn, and the future can hold unimaginable adventures if you only trust in the unknown plan of the universe. I had to wait until my children were grown and creating lives of their own before I could devote full time to hypnotherapy and investigation in 1979. I never could have dreamed that the people who were coming to me with problems would supply the information that resulted in 19 books. Sometimes it may be better if we don't know what the future holds for us, or we would never start down the path. Along the path, I was offered many chances to stop, turn around, or detour. Any of these times, my life would have been changed, and I would have gone in a different direction. I called these years my testing times. Fate was trying to see just how committed I was to the path that I had started down, the path that led to an unknown future clouded in mystery. But once the commitment is made, there's no turning back. This is actually like a very common question that so many people have. This is what I work with my clients on, and this is what I get asked a lot is like, I'm so ingrained in my life. Like, I can't fathom it looking any different. So how do I actually change my life? And I love how Dolores actually reaffirms this. Like, she was, in the 1960s, she was a full adult. She was in her life. She was married. She had 4 kids. She was raising them. She had no concept of her life changing in such a drastic way, but she was tapped for a mission. And it was by her willingness to open herself up to the mission, to be guided by the unknown force of the universe, to start doing this work, knowing absolutely having no idea where it would lead her, and how much her life changed and how much she has now impacted the world. This is probably like the biggest arc of the soul journey, is that we come to this life to become ingrained into it. And it's up to us to answer those nudges, those little nudges from soul, those little whispers that say, hey, try this, do something new. Why don't you look over here? Why don't you take a different path? And it's like those little whispers from soul are what's actually guiding us towards our destiny. She says, one of my readers sent me the following quotation that I consider to be very appropriate. It says, until one is committed, there's hesitancy. The moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves. All sorts of things occur to help one that would have never otherwise occurred. A whole stream of events issue from the decision raising in one's favor. All manner of unforeseen incidents, meetings, and material assistance which no one could have dreamed of will come their way. Whatever you do or dream you can do, begin it, because boldness has genius and power and magic in it. When you go big in your life, the universe will go bigger.